You can feel it in the air, that mix of tension, pride, and rivalry. Because when the Pittsburgh Steelers face the Cleveland Browns, it's never just another Sunday. It's a battle for control, for momentum, and for respect. And as Week 6 kicks off, the Steelers have a golden chance to climb to 4-1, but only if they handle business at home. Welcome back to our favorite time of the week, the Steelers mailbag. This is where real fans ask the real questions that everyone wants answers to. But before we jump into today's latest news, do one quick thing. Hit that subscribe button, tap like, and don't forget to press the bell icon so you never miss breaking Steelers updates. All right, let's dive into the action. Our first question comes from Isaac Flam, who asks, do you think the Ravens will make the playoffs? Well, Isaac, let's be honest, it's not looking good for Baltimore right now. If they fall short again this weekend against the Rams, that's a 1-5 start. After their bye in Week 7, the road ahead gets brutal. From Week 8 onward, they'd have to win 9 of their next 11 games just to have a real shot. That's nearly perfection, and in the NFL, perfection doesn't come easy. Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry give them hope on offense, but their defense? It's falling apart. The pass rush is invisible, and they're getting pushed around in the trenches, giving up over 35 points a game, even with stars like Roquan Smith and Kyle Hamilton on the field. If the Ravens don't turn things around fast, this could go down as one of the most disappointing seasons we've seen from them in years. Stay with me. We've got a lot more to break down next. If the Ravens really do fall apart this season, then the path for the Steelers becomes wide open. The bar to win this division might be lower than it's been in years. Honestly, if Pittsburgh can just grab 8 or 9 wins, they could be standing on top when it's all said and done. That's how shaky things are in the AFC North right now. Now, moving on to a question that's got some fans talking. Could Kenny Gainwell become the Steelers' RB1? Let's be real, that's not happening. The Steelers believe in Jaylen Warren, and it's not just loyalty, it's performance. When you watch the tape, you see it. Warren has that rare mix of vision, burst, and balance that makes defenders miss like ghosts. He turns tight spaces into open lanes and hits defenders like he's built from steel himself. The analytics back it up too. Yards after contact, missed tackles forced, pass protection. He's been elite across the board. Gainwell's a solid piece, no doubt. He proved he can move the chains and make smart plays. But Warren is different. He doesn't just run, he attacks. He reads defenses like a veteran, catches passes with confidence, and protects his quarterback with heart. Right now, this is Jaylen Warren's backfield. Gainwell plays his role well, and rookie Caleb Johnson might start carving out touches later this year. But Warren? He's the engine that keeps this offense moving. The Steelers' running game finally looks balanced, strong, versatile, and dangerous. And if Warren stays healthy, this offense might surprise a lot of people down the stretch. Stay with me. The next part gets even more interesting. Injuries can change everything. One player goes down, and suddenly the entire balance of a team shifts. That's exactly what fans have been wondering about lately. What's really going on with Ramsey's injury? From what I've gathered, it's a hamstring strain, not ideal, but not a season-ending disaster either. The good news is he managed to come back into the game against Minnesota, and he's already been seen stretching with the team during practice. Coach Tomlin hasn't ruled him out completely, but he's being cautious, and that's smart. If I had to predict, I'd say Ramsey probably sits out against Cleveland, maybe even against Cincinnati since that's a short turnaround. But after that, there's a mini-bye before Sunday Night Football against the Packers, and I think that's when we see him back in full form. Sometimes patience pays off more than toughness, especially when it comes to soft tissue injuries like this. Now, about those trade rumors. I've seen the talk about the Steelers being linked to a move for Devon Achane, and honestly, I just don't buy it. That speculation feels more like fantasy than fact. The Steelers don't need another running back. They already have their pieces. Jaylen Warren is the clear lead. Kenny Gainwell is a strong number 2, and Caleb Johnson is still developing for the future. Plus, Pittsburgh doesn't like throwing away draft picks unless it's absolutely necessary. If they do make a move, it'll be for a real need. Maybe a wide receiver or some protection on the offensive line, but not another back. The Steelers are building their foundation carefully this year, and from what I see, they're not desperate for flashy moves. They're focused, steady, and trusting their system. Stay with me. The next part digs even deeper into what's shaping this team behind the scenes. Every great defense runs on pressure, the kind that makes quarterbacks uncomfortable and forces bad throws. And this week, all eyes are on the Steelers' edge rushers. Kevin Reed asks a great question. With Alex Highsmith coming back, who do you think will make a bigger impact? Highsmith or Nick Herbig? It's a tough call. Highsmith is the veteran presence, smart, explosive, and battle-tested. But there's one thing to keep in mind. He's just returning, and Coach Tomlin hinted that his snaps might be limited early on. That means we'll probably see plenty of Nick Herbig out there against Cleveland. If I had to guess, this week might belong to Herbig. He's got that rookie fire, quick off the edge, relentless in pursuit, and hungry to prove he belongs opposite TJ Watt. He's been making noise in limited snaps, and with a bigger opportunity, don't be surprised if he creates real chaos in the backfield. Long-term, though, the edge still goes to Highsmith. He's earned that role, he's consistent, and he's shown he can take over games when he's fully healthy. Unless his production drops off, it's still his job to lose. And let's be honest, sacks don't always tell the full story. They look great on paper, but pressure is what really wins games. Sometimes it's the hit that forces an early throw, the push that collapses a pocket, or the chase that drives a quarterback into Watt's waiting arms. Football's full of those little moments that never show up on the stat sheet, but they decide games all the same. Now, Greg Bryant brings up an even bigger question, one that's been floating around ever since rumors started swirling. Will Aaron Rodgers play next season? Let's dig into that next, because that answer might surprise a lot of people. Stay with me. When you look at this Steelers roster, you can't help but feel like something special is brewing. If this team keeps playing the way they have, disciplined, balanced, and hungry, they might just have what it takes to make a serious playoff run. And that brings us to the big question. Will Aaron Rodgers return next season? If the Steelers reach the postseason and fall just short of the Super Bowl, the odds of Rodgers coming back rise dramatically. He's building real chemistry inside that locker room, bonding with veterans, earning trust, and connecting with guys like Cam Hayward, who may be down to his final seasons. Rodgers isn't just another quarterback. He's a competitor who still burns to win. If he believes this group can go all the way, I can see him giving it one more ride. His return would also give Pittsburgh flexibility heading into the draft. They could take a talented young quarterback, someone raw but full of potential, and let him sit, learn, and develop the right way. That's how true contenders stay relevant for years. Because throwing a rookie straight into the fire rarely works. You're asking them to move cities, master a complex playbook, and handle NFL-level pressure all at once. That's not growth, that's survival mode. But under Rodgers' mentorship, a young QB could actually learn what it means to lead in Pittsburgh. And let's be honest, this core isn't done yet. With TJ Watt, Cam Hayward, and Alex Highsmith still at their peak, this defense is built to win right now. Add a steady Rodgers-led offense to that mix, and you've got a team no one wants to face in January. So, unless something drastic happens, like a deep playoff collapse or a surprise Super Bowl win, I'd say the chances are very real. Aaron Rodgers might just be wearing black and gold again next season. Stay with me, we're not done yet. The next questions could shake up how fans see this team's future. Trade rumors always find their way into Steelers conversations. And this week, one name got fans buzzing, Jalen Waddle. Brands Turek asks, should the Steelers try to get Waddle from the Dolphins? Here's the truth. That dream might sound exciting, but it's not realistic. Waddle isn't going anywhere. He's just 26 years old, under contract through 2028, and he's one of Miami's cornerstones for the future. You don't trade away that kind of talent unless your franchise is falling apart, and the Dolphins are far from that. Tyreek Hill might have been a different conversation, an older veteran, a massive contract, and a more complicated relationship with the team. But Waddle? He's young, explosive, and exactly the kind of player Miami plans to build around. So as tempting as it sounds, the chances of him landing in Pittsburgh are practically zero. Now, onto another sharp question. Sam Pugh points out that this might not be the year for a first-round quarterback. And you know what? That's a fair argument. The 2025 draft class looks talented but uneven. Some of the big college names haven't exactly delivered. Arch Manning, Cade Klubnik, Garrett Nussmeier, Drew Aller, they've all had rocky stretches. But that doesn't mean it's a weak class. In fact, a few new faces are starting to rise. Dante Moore from Oregon has flashed real star potential. Ty Simpson from Alabama has found his rhythm. And then there's Fernando Mendoza from Indiana and Sam Levitt from Arizona State, both showing growth and grit. And let's not forget Lenora Sellers. If he declares, he could easily climb into the first-round conversation. So while it's true the Steelers might look elsewhere in round one, maybe a left tackle, wide receiver, or safety, this quarterback class is deeper than people think. The right prospect could still be sitting there on day two, waiting for the right team to take a chance. And if the Steelers are smart, They'll keep their eyes open, because in this league, one draft pick can change everything. Stay with me. The final section wraps it all together. At the end of the day, this all comes down to one thing: the future of the Pittsburgh Steelers. We're heading into a draft class that could easily feature 4, maybe even 6 first-round caliber quarterbacks. And the Steelers? They've positioned themselves perfectly to find their guy. Think about it. The draft is happening right here in Pittsburgh, on home turf, under the lights. The franchise knows exactly how powerful that moment could be, stepping up to the podium, in front of their own fans, to announce the quarterback who'll carry this team into the next decade. That's not by accident. They've been preparing for this, stockpiling picks, planning moves, and if the right quarterback is there, don't be surprised if they pull the trigger, even if it means giving up a future first-rounder. Now, the beauty of this situation is in the timing. If Aaron Rodgers comes back healthy, you get one more year. One year where he can mentor that young quarterback, teach him the game, show him what leadership at this level looks like. Then, when the time is right, you hand over the reins. The kid steps into a system that's stable, confident, and built for success. That's the formula teams like the Chiefs, the Bills, the Eagles, even the Rams, have followed. You lock down the right quarterback, and everything else falls into place. Wide receivers, safeties, linemen, you can fill those roles later. But if you don't get the quarterback right, everything else stays stuck in mediocrity. This moment, this upcoming draft, could define the next 10 years of Steelers football. Get it right, and Pittsburgh rises again. Get it wrong, and it's back to square one. And that's what makes this offseason so fascinating. Every decision, every rumor, every move from here on out will shape what this team becomes. The road ahead is clear. Find the leader, build around him, and bring championship football back where it belongs, to the city of Pittsburgh.